guys, thank you. Wow. I know some of you are thinking like, oh, whose grandpa is that, you know? But some of you also think, yeah, he is not my grandpa. Alright, now that we have my favorite porn category out of the way. So I just recently got back from Texas, Dallas, Texas. Yeah, I was at the biggest comedy festival in the country. It was great. I could only recommend it. You know, if you're a comedian, do a festival. There is no better feeling when there are 400 people screaming, "Get the fuck off the stage." It was great. But after my show, I almost got into a threesome. I know, right, guys? High five. But I did say almost. You know, I was goofing around with two girls, and one of them got a phone call that her dad passed away. And I was like, bummer. You know, I got cock blocked by a dead guy, you know. But I'm a dude, still wanting to have sex with the other one. But she had to leave also. I guess it was a mother-daughter thing, you know. Cool. So based on my accent, I'm pretty sure most of you can guess that I grew up poor. Which means that I eat the pussy. I eat the pussy the same way some rich people down in Florida find their toddlers on the bottom of the pool. Face down. Thank you. I like to open with this joke because it immediately tells you two things about me. That I like the pussy, and that I care about poolside safety. Man, you guys are fun. But yeah, I did grow up poor, which means that sometimes we had to rename our children's games, you know, just to make us children feel better. Like, for example, when we played inside the house, we played games like The Dirt is Lava. It's a slow burn. Or The Hot Imaginary Potato. And outside we played one of the most boring games ever invented, Rock, Rock, Rock. Because my parents never had money, you know, for paper, scissors. But we also played one of my favorite games outside. It was called The Dead Dog in the Middle. Which you guys call soccer. Alright, some of you in the back missed the fact when I said that the dog was already dead. It's not like we were kicking around a live puppy. That was called kickbox. Now my parents were hippies, which means that we never had a taboo subject at home, you know? Like I remember the first time I heard them having sex. And I was just like pressed against the door. Because they didn't want to let me in their room. And my younger brother, you know, he was crying in the corner, trying to poke his eye out, you know, with imaginary scissors. So based on these jokes, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be shocked that I also have kids. Anybody else have parents? You guys are waiting. You have kids? How many? 4. I got 4 kids. And you know, I try to love them equally. But you know how it is. The first 2 were accidental. And the other 2, well, they are still alive. I was wondering how Savannah is gonna handle my abortion stuff. So yeah, I have two beautiful kids. Well, I have one beautiful kid, the other is my son. And he is a little bit sicklish, you know? Like he has this very weird nosebleed every time I punch him. You are a monster for laughing at me. But I was doing this joke a couple of weeks ago and somebody from the back said, "Boo!" I'm like, what are you booing for? You don't know how big of an asshole my son is. I know he's only 10. But I was dropping them off at school the other day and we witnessed a car accident. And one of the cars had a sticker on the back. It said, "I'm a woman, watch me vote." And then my son said, "Maybe she should learn how to drive first, huh, Dad?" And I immediately pulled over the car, I slammed on the brakes and I said, "Do not ever say that again. Because there is no way that I'm gonna let my son be a better comedian." He's doing good. But yeah, obviously my kids are being raised by a cool stepfather. Yeah, he's much cooler than me. This is the coolest thing. But he's much cooler than me because he does things with my kids I don't like to do. Right? You know the feeling. Like he takes them to Disney. You know, he cuts their toenails. He kisses them on the lips. I know, gross, right? Toenails. But I told this to my friends and they were like, "Dude, your kids are being molested." I'm like, I don't think so. Actually, I know for a fact that my kids are not being molested. You know why? Because every time I give them a chore, they're like, "This is the worst day of my life." You guys are a lot of fun. Alright, let's switch some gears. Is anybody else into some weird sex stuff? Alright, what are you into?
Feet!
Feet. I love feet. I love suck them, lick them, you know, whatever. You know what I like because of feet? Socks. Like I have the sock fetish. You know? That too. We are bonding. You know? But yeah, you know, like I have the sock fetish, but my socks are too stretched out, you know? So I have to use my kids' socks. You guys can laugh at this. Don't worry. I googled it, it's not pedophilia. It's just tight. You know what I'm into? Period sex? Yes. I like to have sex from time to time. Oh, wait a second. You were thinking about the other period. You know, it's not that. I know you were thinking it's gross. It's not that gross. You know what's gross? Yeast infection sex. Yeah, if you never had it, it's like dipping sandpaper into cottage cheese. That smells like Carrabba's. Alright, I got the light. You guys have been hands down the best fucking crowd I ever had. So I rarely do this, but I let you pick between two jokes. I can do either something darker or something silly. Which one do you guys want? Alright, that was an obvious darker. Cool. So one of the other comics were talking about TV shows. I'm watching this cool TV show called Hunters. Have you guys seen it? No? Alright. So it's about a Jewish group after the Second World War. And their job is to hunt down Nazis in the 70s and 80s of US, right? It's a fucking great show. And there is one episode when there is a cutback to Auschwitz, when the German guard, the Nazi guard, makes Jewish musicians play German music. And at one point, it's very touching, at one point, out of defiance, the Jewish musicians switch. And they start playing Jewish music, because Mozart is cool, but it's not Fiddler on the Roof. You know? Of course, the Nazi guard does not like this, and he starts executing the musicians one by one. And the music slowly fades away. Very sad. But I couldn't believe that somebody would understand what I feel like when I listen to country music. Jolene. Hold the line. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. I actually like that one.